And so it seems like I am on the air, guys. Long lost Shaney Entertaining. It's finally back from its vacation away from home. Wait a minute. Gotta shut myself. Shut up. Shut up. Stupid jerk. The guy's always interrupting me. Hey everybody, this is Shaney Entertaining. You guys have noticed I have a new look. I'm done in my Canuck wear. I noticed it was what do you call it? 4th of July for you guys in the United States. So for all my American friends, I wish you all a belated happy 4th of July, Independence Day. The day where you decided to kick the Queen's tea and throw it into the Boston Harbor and said, "That's all for that. We don't drink your tea. We like our coffee. And we like our Dunkin' Donuts. Screw off." I am Canadian, and we had our Independence Day, so to speak, a couple of days earlier. So we're all getting all our independence in July. There's something to that. I'm not sure what that is, but there's something to that. Anyway, that's that out of the way. A couple of things happened since I was gone, guys. It's been a hard time for a lot of people. Apparently, while I was away, it was going on when I was here. But Anna from the Geeks and Gamers affiliates, she has her own channel, Star Wars Girl. I just want to wish my condolences to her and her family. And that's it. That's all I have to say. That's all I need to say because, I didn't even put it on my title because I don't need to. I'm not trying to draw anything. I'm just trying to be polite and say my condolences. If they ever should watch this. If not, not well. That's all I got to say about that. It is hard to lose someone close to you. And she is a fellow Portuguese, I believe. So not that matters. Tori LG, how's it going? How are you? So I just got to clean up a few things that I was gone for a while. So I have to sort of get certain things out of the way before I start my thing, doing my thing. So I did that. Also, 1,000 guys. So I reached 1,000 subs while I was gone. And I know everybody was like, when are you going to say your thank yous on YouTube? I was like, I'll get there. I'll say my thank yous. It took me a long time to reach 1,000. I've been doing this for many, many years and changed, morphed my channel multiple times. And, it's come a long way. It takes, it's like you eke forward, you inch forward, and then you get to that level, right? And then I think it's supposed to take off from there. I don't think this is the level, but there is a level. I think it's 10 G's where it starts to go on its own. But, it is a hard road to reach to 1,000. And I thank each and every one of you who subbed to my channel. I do appreciate it. And I hope to make you guys all happy going forward. Because I love our little community and the discussions we have. I do have a lot of really interesting things coming down the pipeline. I'm already working on these things. So I'm excited for them. So that's great. And also I'd like to thank people who also helped me, Death by Saber, Fanatics of Film, Ian, a lot of people who along the lines, channels that believed in me and that helped push me and supported me on Twitter and supported me just in general, believe in me and my talent and what I can do. And think that, thought that I needed a little kick in the teeth here and there and help me out. So guys, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you guys a lot, more than you guys realize. So let's see. I don't even know how many people are here. How many people are even here? Just get right back and you hear a tale. Just 2. Okay. Well, not just 2. You guys are all special. Maybe everybody's still hungover from a lot of drinking on Independence Day. But yeah, so what I came to talk to you guys today was something that's sort of been permeating. There's been a lot of things going on while I was gone, Disney related. Disney, Toy Story tanking, Disney, what else? Disney's theme park tanking. Disney releasing then the controversial casting choice for Ariel. Disney's just not doing well right now. They just keep making stupid decision after stupid decision. Now, I'm going to be on. First, I'm going to start with this casting choice because a lot of people are upset about it. I think Halle, I don't even know her name is. I want to call her Halle Berry, but it's not her name. Hal Bailey, I think is her name. She's an R&B star. And when I saw her picture for Ariel at first, I was okay with it. I was okay. I thought, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful girl. I really didn't even see the color of her skin at that time. And I'm not trying to say, well, I didn't see color of skin. I just didn't care. It wasn't anything that I really cared about because to me, Ariel's a fish. I don't know why. I don't see her as a person. I see her as a fish. So it's almost like the genie. I didn't really see color when they said it was going to be him. I just saw genie. It's a genie. I didn't see as a fish. I see her as a fish with white skin. She could have been a chameleon for all I know and just changed her skin to suit whatever part of the world she was in. I don't know what the heck was going on with her. So I didn't really see that. I saw the first thing I will say I saw, the two things that bothered me about the casting choice, three things, and it has nothing to do with the color of her skin. It has all to do with the cast in the choice. Number one, it's an R&B singer. And I don't like when they put singers in these kinds of roles because they're not actors. And actors take a role and they make it their own. If anybody knows that if you want a good actor to play a good role, and when you have an R&B singer and then shove her into a role, she could sing, that's fine. But there's a lot of actresses that can sing just fine. There's a lot of really, you can find a lot of actresses that have really good voices. That's no excuse. You don't need an R&B singer to sing. So there's that. So the other thing is her being an actress and not being an actress bothers me because if you want to get the most out of a character, you got to get a solid actress, someone who's been around, who knows how to take something and really be creative with the character and make something special. And an R&B singer on her first role this big isn't going to do it. Thanks, Toriel G. Thanks for the congrats. I appreciate it. Really, it's sort of like it happened, and then I don't know. It was so weird. It took so long to get there, and then it was like I had to wait for it to go permanently over 100. 1,000. I think like 1,050 before I really believed it. As I thought it was just gonna drop. It's just gonna drop. But it didn't. So yay. Yeah. So I don't like when they cast singers because singers aren't actors, and actors take they do different things to roles. They make it better, and that's why I didn't like that. DMFO, how's it going, bud? Congrats. Thank you very much. I appreciate the congrats on my 1K. I haven't been monetized yet, but we're working on it. As for FOF and Saber, still doing late nights. There's been some issues with the microphones. I don't know what's going on with Fanatics of Film. His mic hasn't been working properly. So we've tried a couple of times to do it, and his mic wasn't working. So we have to fix the audio issues on that. Plus, everybody's been busy. I've been on vacation. He went. I think he did a gig outside for a while, and so it's just been hard to get people together. We're all in different time zones. It's hard to do these things when we're all in different time zones. The nefarious Chupacabra. Sheeny, how was your vacation? It was all right. It was kind of stressful, to be honest with you. It was more stressful than it was soothing and relaxing, to be honest. I actually need a new vacation from that vacation, but yeah, I'm not going to get into detail, but there was a lot of just crazy family stuff, and just I'm not. It's just, but believe it, it's out there. But yeah, so yeah, so back to what I was saying about that. That's my biggest problem. And then I looked at the looks. She was a beautiful girl. I'm talking about if you guys just got here, I am talking about the casting of Ariel, and I don't really care about the color change because I said, number one, she's a fish, and that's how I saw her in the first place. Half fish, And so as a half fish lady, maybe she changes colors. She's a chameleon. I don't know. She's from under the sea, so maybe she changes for whatever suits her. So I really don't care about that. All I care about, though, is the major things that actually make sense to the character. Number one is it's an R&B singer, and I really don't like when they put singers in roles like Rihanna and stuff like that, because they don't do anything special with the role. They're gonna do the lines as best they can, and all more power to them. But they're not great actors. They don't have the experience to be. Not that they can't be, but they just don't have the experience to be. And I really would like to see someone take the role. This seems like a cash grab. Let's throw an R&B singer out there, and that's what I feel about that. As for other things I didn't like, because I said there was 3 things I didn't like. Her eyes. I didn't like the casting choice too because of her eyes. When I see Ariel, I see these big, bright eyes. They look into because she's supposed to look at the world, like those eyes signify, bright-eyed, look at the world with new eyes and a new experience. And I wish they'd casted a girl with bigger eyes. Could have been a black girl, didn't matter who it is, just someone with bigger eyes. Her eyes are kind of beady. She's a beautiful girl, but she's got some beady eyes. And I just think those eyes, when I look at her, I just don't see Ariel, the face of Ariel. I just don't see it. Like the whole character of her was looking at the world like this, and a whole new world. Oh, that's a different thing altogether. But you get what I'm saying. I'm getting my Disney movies all mixed up. Anyway, that's the other one. And her hair, you could just dye her hair. What's the big deal? So I don't really care about the hair. Hair, when I first saw it, I'm like, they're getting rid of all the gingers. But there's a conspiracy against gingers. Gingers are going to be hiding soon. They're going to be underground. They're out to get us. My hair ends them. I don't know what's going on. Why they're trying to get rid of all the gingers in the world. They've done it with Mary Jane. They keep getting rid of the gingers, and I don't understand what's the deal with the gingers. They have this fascination with the 80s, and the 80s was all about the ginger. It was the time of gingers, and I don't know what's going on. Why they're trying to get rid of gingers. But anyway, that's premature because we don't know what they're going to do. For all we know, they dye her hair. It's still going to smell like low tide. Judah, the first Chupacabra says, it doesn't matter what color she is, she's still going to smell like low tide. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you said that. I am so glad you said that, because that is the crux of my argument as to why we don't need this movie. Okay. Now, my problem with all of this isn't even the fact there's this is the fact that the casting. I don't even care. What bothers me is that the fact that they're making this at all, because we don't need another live action remake of their old movies. We can go on and on about making new stuff, and I've been on this diatribe about making new stuff, and I'm tired of Hollywood rehashing old shit. It's hackish. It's like a singer just re-releasing all their songs every year. I'm going to release my greatest hits every single time instead of making new stuff. And it reeks of hack. But my biggest issue with this movie, this specific movie, is that the charm of the original, for me, that my 2 favorite movies from Walt Disney cartoons was The Little Mermaid is number 1. Number 2 is Aladdin. Now, from that generation of movies. I mean, the old movies are the old movies. But I'm talking about these ones, the middle round movies. And reason why I think Lion King is like 4th or 5th. But those 2 I loved. Now, the reason why is the characters. The characters were adorable. I love the characters. Sebastian, the crab, was a great character. I loved him. Now, here's the thing. How are you going to make this crab in real life? How are you going to do that? And I'm racking my brain because I want to see a live action version of the crab, of Sebastian the crab. How is you going to have this? Have you ever seen a crab in real life, guys? Have you ever seen a real crab? And then they're going to go hyper realistic with this crab. It's going to be the oddest thing to have this crab just sitting there waiting while she's on a boat trying to kiss the guy, kiss the prince, so that she could turn permanently into a person. Just this weird crab sitting there, really awkward looking and horrible and disgusting, singing sha la 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 la. Don't you try, you got to know that blah, you got to kiss the girl, rock. It's not. Then all the weird frogs just spitting up. It's going to be gross. No one wants to see that. The nefarious chupacabra says, "How rank is her?" When she, I don't. Oh man. Okay, I'm not going to repeat what you said, but yeah, it's hilarious. Oh, how rank is her sniz between her legs? Okay, that's just bad, but I get your point. Yeah, I mean, doing a live action like this doesn't make a lot of sense. And you're never going to be able to you're never going to be able to make what the charm was, in the original come to life. Yes, the eye of a child, the eyes, the wonder of wonderment is exactly what I'm saying. Toriel G got it. Like it's the wonderment in her eyes that I just don't see in the eyes of this actress. And that's I mean, whatever. Maybe it's a nitpick. Maybe, but I think if with real acting skills, you could work around it. But when you don't have the acting skills because you're an R&B singer, I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad actress, but I mean, how good could she be when she doesn't have experience? Be like an actress trying to be an R&B singer. Maybe she could pull off a couple of notes and be good, but is she going to have the dexterity and the of the voice that an R&B singer has? I'm the oldest little boy you'll ever meet. The nefarious chupacabra says. Yeah, I'm pretty. I'm a little boy myself. I mean, if you've seen what's going on back here, I ain't a grown man to tell you. But yeah, so like I'm trying to think like, how can they do this? How are they going to pull off half of this stuff? It doesn't make sense. Another horrible choice is Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, and her eels. She's gonna have real eels behind her. This is gonna be gross. The whole thing's gonna be disgusting. I don't see how you're gonna translate real life into The Little Mermaid and not make it a horror. Because as a fantasy, it doesn't work. With singing and dancing and all this stuff, it won't work. Under the Sea is going to be such a silly thing with all these guppies and blowfishes. Remember the blowfish? How ugly is a blowfish? All these weird creatures under the sea singing. It's going to be stupid. Their little black-eyed mouths. Under the sea. Life here is better, down where it's better, take it from me. Out in the sun, they work all day. Out in the sun, that's what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get. You wanna? Is that gonna appeal to anybody? Is anybody actually gonna look at that and say, "That's a great job, guys, bravo"? I mean, what are they gonna do? They're gonna have to draw little cartoon faces on them in order to make them actually appeal to anybody or relatable. And if you're going to draw cartoon voices and faces on them, then what's the point in this movie at all? You should have kept with the old one then. Death by Saber's awake, everybody. Hey, Death by Saber. Glad you could wake up from your nap to join me here. I gave you credit, by the way, in the beginning. I was like, thank you to Death by Saber for helping me reach 1,000 and everybody else for helping me reach 1,000. That's so just so you know. Yeah, so my whole point of this is like, you can shit on the casting choice and you can shit on whatever the hell. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's stupid. The whole premise of remaking these movies is stupid. And I'm going to say this going forward too. The Lion King is going to come out and it's going to have the same problem. Lion King, again, appealed to people because of the charm that the characters had, and the charm came from songs and the eyes and the expressions and that's what makes these things so charming, and you love them for that reason. And it works with a cartoon. Even if you go CGI cartoon, even if you want to make a CGI cartoon version like Toy Story or whatever, do that. But when you start getting into live action lions and with no expressions, because cats are another expressionless animal. So how are you going to sit there and go like, okay, monkeys you can get away with because monkeys have expression. Dogs, possibly, because dogs have some expressions. But lions are the least expressive animals in the jungle. They're just going to sit there like, Simba, reach your potential, Simba. Like, ugh. Like this weird, it's not boar. Ugly. You know how ugly a real boar is? A real boar is disgusting. And a boar is going to sit there, sing Hakuna Matata. It's a wonderful thing. Hakuna Matata. It's going to be horrible. And expressionless. And even if they try to make it expressive, like put some expression, then it's no longer going to be live action. It's just cartoon, but a different type of cartoon. And if you're going to do that, you know what I say? Re-release the old movies. Why not just re-release it? Stop changing it. Re-release them. Maybe you clean up make it like so that's 4K and clean up the film, make it better, add better, like make the colors more rich. You know what I mean? Add an extra scene or something. I don't know if you want to just go crazy with it. Add an extra scene to get people in the thing, but re-release them in the theater and clean up like they did with Star Wars. I mean, the original, the first time, not when they made when they re-released it with all these extra scenes. I'm talking about when they first did it again, the first time when they came out and they just cleaned up the film. You know what I mean? That's just clean up the film and make it, and maybe even make it 3D. We've never seen these things in 3D. We've never seen Aladdin 3D. We've never seen all the other movies in 3D. So just re-release them in 3D. That's enough. And guess what? You'll make your money. And then the old movies will still be relevant and they'll have the charm. But this is just, you're going to kill it. You're going to kill the old movies and you're not going to create anything special going forward. I'm currently, Death by Saber says, I'm currently working on new airsoft fatty video. I hope I have it done by next month. I hope you have it done by this week. You got a budget, sir. I'm just kidding. Take your time. I know those videos you do are they're hard to do. They take time. It's animation, so it's always going to take time. But come on, move it faster. Let's go. And nobody motivates you like Arnold when he says, "If you gotta sleep faster. Get the work done." But yeah. Back to what I'm saying. So there is no need for these live action movies. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that Disney, I find, is not missing. They're missing the point. They're going for nostalgia. But what is more nostalgic than what Disney has already done that they haven't done in a long time? I mean, when was the last time we saw Mickey, Donald, and Goofy together in a movie? When was the last time? I mean, for some reason, Warner Brothers can pimp out the Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and keep throwing them out into movies once in a while, and everybody says yay. But when was the last time? When was the last movie that wasn't straight to DVD rental that we saw, with those three ever? Why not make a movie with those guys? We know Mickey, we know Donald. Hell, I know Mickey. Mickey comes and visits me all the time. Ha ha. Mickey hates it when I talk shit about him. He's probably going to come here right now and say, "Oh, I'm tired of you talking all kinds of crap about my damn movies. This has nothing to do with you. Mind your own goddamn business. Telling me how to run my company." He'll be here shortly to tell me off. But why not make those movies? Why not make movies with those characters, right? Remember the 90s? Okay, here's movies that I think that they should be making. The mouse isn't funny. The mouse isn't funny. The mouse is always funny. But when we have these characters, the mouse could be funny if he does it, if you do him right. He's the straight man in a character, right? Like if you're talking about a movie, he would act as the straight man. And that's why he works pretty fun with the rest of them, because Goofy's a silly character, Donald is a silly character, and when you put Mickey with those two, he's the straight man. And so anybody who knows comedy, the straight man is extremely important when you're dealing with a comedy. So without Mickey as the straight man, Donald may not work and together with. So he's very important. It's like the Three Stooges needed Mo. He's the straight man. The straight man's important. Jerry Seinfeld played the straight man in his show with all these wacky characters. Marge is the straight man in The Simpsons. You need the straight man. And I'm not talking about gay. I'm talking about straight, man. So those people who are gay, I'm like, here we go, more homophobia. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something completely different. I'm just joking. So yeah, I think it could work, but you just have to write it. You just have to write a good script. Make something interesting. That's all. Disney. Mickey in space. How about Mickey goes into video games? He's in a video game, isn't he? Isn't there like a Mickey video game? There's a few Mickey Mouse video games, and they do quite well, I think. So why not? Why this could do well? And make gangster Mickey. Then he'd be fun. But even aside from Mickey, I remember when I was in the 90s, as a teen in the 90s, there was a lot in early 80s. Do you remember? Like, there was a lot of cartoons that I would love to have seen as a movie, but they never did. Like, for instance, do you ever watch? Well, the 80s had Gummy Bears, and I loved the Gummy Bears. I know a lot of people like Gummy Bears. That's just stupid, but I love the Gummy Bears. And not just the candy, because the candy was just great. You can chew on that for hours and it'd be great. Just sit there and it's really small, but it packs a lot of flavor. I'm talking about the character. Hey, everything Star Wars, how's it going? Thanks, man, for coming and being part of this live stream. Yes, thank you for my 1K. I appreciate all you guys. You especially. You'll get there. Unless you're already there, you could already be there for all I know. The lack of stream saved the dream. Yeah, like the stream saved the dream. 1K subs, Rise of Shaney. The Rise of Shaney. I am growing, everyone. Soon I'll be in every household, infesting your ears. Give me a movie. Give me a Disney movie. Why not? I'll make something special. But like, for me, I always thought Gummy Bears would make a good movie because it had that whole medieval time thing going for it. I thought it would be cute. Not a grown-up thing, but something for kids. It had trolls that were trying to get the gummy berry juice. And that could be kind of fun to have big trolls chasing after the gummy bears, bouncing around here and there and everywhere. But yeah, it was beyond compare. There's some stuff there to be worked with, right? Darkwing Duck. Remember Darkwing Duck? Let's get dangerous. I want to see Darkwing Duck movie. Come on. That's perfect too, because you have the Batman stuff and you got Darkwing Duck. Think about how cool a Darkwing Duck movie could be. Chip and Dale movie. Well, maybe not a Chip and Dale movie, but gummy bears are better these days. Dispensaries have made gummy bears a ride of their own. The nefarious Chupacabra says, I just uploaded a video. Check it out. All right, yeah, everybody, check out Toriel G's video. She's and everything Star Wars and Death by Saber. Everybody, go check out all these wonderful YouTubers. Check them out and click they're part of the revolution against Hollywood and their tomfoolery. Just the consistent disappointment that they are. They're killing themselves softly with their crap. Yeah, Darkwing Duck was one of my favorite. Toriel G was one of my favorite cartoons back in those days, and they never did a movie, so why not try that, right? It doesn't have to be live action. It could just be, CGI, a nice, cool-looking CGI film with Darkwing Duck. Even make it. I mean, remember they tried to do what was it, Howard the Duck movie, which they could do a Howard the Duck movie again, but Howard the Duck movie it's kind of awkward, but Darkwing Duck would be really awesome. I would just make it nice CG, like a really good CG movie. But I think that would be fun, and you have that going for you, instead of this crap. I'd rather see that. Here's another one, and I know that I think the director of Us, well, what's his name? Can you guys remember the director of Us? Jordan Peele. He wanted to make this movie, but they never really followed through with it. But Gargoyles was I loved Gargoyles. I thought that was one of the best cartoons in that time, and that would have been an amazing movie if they made Gargoyles like that. That's something that's like a no-brainer. Why not do Gargoyles? These are these things that have a nostalgic appeal that they could market and say, well, you're going for nostalgia. There you go. You got something that hasn't been done, that doesn't have to rely on old. I mean, people will always complain about that doesn't look like the thing that I remember. But when you're putting things from a movie to live, it's going to always alter things a little bit. but I think at least hasn't been done yet. A movie version of these things haven't been done, and I think that would be exciting to see and fun to do. You can even make the toys in gargoyles. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Was that? I don't think Courage the Cowardly Dog was Disney though, was it? I actually have the DVDs of it. I don't think it's Disney. I don't know who did those cartoons, but I don't know if they were Disney unless Disney bought them, owns everything. But they bought everything, so it's very likely that they own it. There's very few things they don't own at this point. A horror comedy. Yeah, that was a disturbing cartoon. I didn't watch it so much then, but I watched it more after than during the time. That was ahead of its time. Yeah, Gargoyles was ahead of its time. I think it came off at the same time as the Dark Knight. Sorry, not the Dark Knight. The Batman animated series, and I think it was like Disney's version of Batman animated series. It was like the dark sort of tone, going for that gothic sort of look, and it was really, I thought it was a fantastic cartoon. Disney cartoons suck. Why so negative? We're trying to be positive here. We're trying to spin a negative into a positive. What's going on? The nefarious Chupacabra needs a hug. Ren and Stimpy. Stimpy, you idiot. Yeah, those would make horrible. I mean, maybe cartoons. I mean, like for comedies, it'd be all right. I watched a lot of Ren and Stimpy back in the day. Why not? Since we're throwing out just random cartoons, Beavis and Butthead. Rescue Rangers. That was a cool cartoon. Yeah, Rescue Rangers. What was there also? There was Baloo had a cartoon. There was a whole bunch of them. I mean, not all of them deserve movies, but there's some that you could make into movies and franchises and work with those. But consistently, they're always just rehashing stuff that doesn't need to be rehashed. Stuff that were classic because it came out as a cartoon. But to make these things live action, Aladdin I think is fine because it's actual people, so it's fine. Even Snow White, it's people. So I think those things work a little better. Beauty and the Beast works a little better. But when you're doing the cartoons, when you're doing the animal stuff, that's just stupid, because there's no way you're going to make. And if you don't have Sebastian the Crab, then or Guppy or any of those characters, then what are you going to do? What are you going to have them? Like I said, just think of this is what you're going to get. Why? That's a fish. A fish. That's what they're not huggable creatures. You're not going to sit there. I have fish in a fish tank. Not once did I ever feel the need to grab it and go, "Who's your good fishy?" Yes, you are. Yes, who's been in the seaweed? That's not something I'm into. Not yet. Invader Zim live action. Oh, Invader Zim is great. Yeah, that would have been a good live action. But again, that's not Disney. Kathleen Kennedy, sexist evil witch of Satan. Hello there, Kathleen Kennedy, sexist evil witch of Satan. How's it going? Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. So, and now here's the thing. Now, even when they do stuff like making like Toy Story, because this is another thing I was like, Toy Story tanked or didn't do as well. I don't even know. But I kept thinking, why would I want to see another Toy Story that way? Like, even if you're going to make another Toy Story, I'm not even saying that there should be a problem with making Toy Story, but we've already seen the characters go through pretty much all they're going to go through. They're toys. It's very limited in what you think they're going to do. They live in a room. They have to escape out the window and do some stuff. It's like it's a rehash. It's just the idea just gets old. I was going to say, like, why even bother telling the same story with the same characters again? Like, why not have a whole different set of toys in a whole different part of the world? Hey, you want to go for diversity? Why not go to Japan? Japan loves their toys. Have a Japanese kid and a Japanese kid's toys. Do something completely different that would just change the whole outlook. Maybe even have a Japanese kid open up a new Buzz Lightyear toy, and have him have different experience over there if they want an old recognizable face, to add to the new faces. So I just ideas that could somehow make it better. Reboot Alice full animation. Nice. No more reboots. No more reboot. And let's not even reboot. Just clean up the film that's already existing, put it out there, and add the new sound and make it 3D because we've never seen these things in 3D. And I think that's enough. They'll make their money back, and it would even be it would probably even be cheaper if for them in the long run if they just re-release their movies in 3D. I don't see the kids would be all for it. The kids will watch anything, and there's so thing about kids. Kids watch everything. Anything that's in front of their face, they watch. They're not discerning. They're little kids. I remember when I was a kid, I watched everything that was a cartoon. I watched. Didn't even matter. Even that dreadful Rocket Robin Hood. Do you remember Rocket Robin Hood? That's what they should make into a full action movie. Rocket Robin Hood. Rocket Robin Hood. Do you remember that, guys? Rocket Robin Hood. That Friar Tuck just sitting there eating all the food for an hour. Just keep eating grapes like it was an apple. Eating chicken and throwing it. I said, what kind of a priest are you that you're going to waste all that damn food? Just going to eat food and toss it. You expect Disney to come up with original ideas. Don't hold your breath. What do you, okay. I know. That's why I'm having this conversation. It's my plea to Disney. It's me speaking to Mickey Mouse going, Mickey, please hire people with imagination. Remember once upon a time when you used to have imagination? Remember that time? It was a wonderful time. But now they got nothing. Now it's just corporate thinking. Kathleen Kennedy says, Evil Sexist Witch says, what do you guys think is going on with Galaxy's Edge? Galaxy's Edge is boring, plain and simple. I mean, I said I did a video about it before, and I haven't gone there, but like I said, I did the next best thing, which was put on my what I call it, my headset, my virtual reality headset, and there's a lot of people who have VR tours of Galaxy's Edge, and I went along those tours, and I got to say, I'm practically there. I'm just looking around, and I'm like, and it was just boring. It's just boring. There's nothing to do. There's nothing recognizable. That's the thing. If you're a fan of any of them, even if you're a fan of the new stuff, there is nothing really recognizable because they put it in a brand new place that doesn't exist. It's just, here's a new thing that doesn't exist. So here, have a nostalgic experience, guys. What sense does that make? Well, why would you? It didn't make a lick of sense, and they completely dropped the ball on that. Like, why would you want? Why would you want to play on nostalgia and then not use nostalgia? My friend Ian from Opinion, when we had this discussion, he said it the same thing as I did. It almost seemed like it's like, it almost look, when you look at it, it seems like they don't have, it's like when you see a theme park that's trying to do a workaround, like they don't own the rights, but they're trying to make as much stuff as they can without having to do right infringement. And I'm like, that's all it seems like. What? This seems like you guys are trying to avoid infringement rights, but you own the damn rights. So it doesn't make any sense. The only thing that's remotely gives you that feeling is the Millennium Falcon. But even the way it was framed didn't look good because they have it in a beige ship in front of a beige mountain, and it blends in. And I thought that was kind of, doesn't stick out to me. I mean, that's a nitpick, but the info, frankly, I'm about done with reboot series. Movies now never end. I agree with you 100%. I am done with it. I'm just trying to say, if you're going to do it right. I know they're not going to stop doing it. So that's kind of the thing. Like, would I rather them stop? Of course. I'd rather they just stop and make new things altogether. My whole thing is, if you're going to do that, and if you like to, like as a compromise, right? I'm trying to find a compromise. So if you're going to at least do it, do something that you haven't been done, so we can at least have, something new, sort of. Mulan must be played by a handicapped Mexican man. You're a bigot. Amputee to play Mulan. Peter Dinklage is the new Mulan, guys. Let's just get it. If we're gonna go nuts, let's get nuts. Peter Dinklage is Mulan, and if you hate it, you hate little people. And he's gonna play it as a woman. That's gonna be the brave thing. He's gonna play. Peter Dinklage is gonna be the transgender Mulan, and so you can't say a damn thing. You can't talk shit at all about that. Nefarious Chupacabra says there's not enough diversity in Mulan. It's all yeah, I don't know. I personally do. I agree with all of you guys. Were most of the ones who said that. I would rather see new stuff. I would much rather see new stuff. I mean, I've always said my biggest fascination with the '80s is that while I do love the things that they came up with, look at my beautiful section of the '80s I just made. But what I loved most about the '80s was that it was a never-ending cacophony of new. It was like new movies, new cartoons, just new ideas and stupid, ludicrous ideas that somehow worked. I keep talking to people about like how the hell does Ghostbusters even work? Think about pitching that movie without knowing that this movie was successful in the past. Pitch Ghostbusters today and see how that would translate. So what's your movie, guys? Okay, well, we have a bunch of middle-aged men. Okay. And they're university professors, or sort of. They're sort of but they're kind of wacky. But they're scientists, and they lost a grant, and so they decided to hunt ghosts. Hunt ghosts. Yeah, grown men are now hunting ghosts. Yes, middle-aged white guys hunting ghosts. Yes, and what are they going to use to hunt ghosts? Well, they're going to use a backpack with a laser, and this laser they're going to point at the ghost, and then they have to throw out a trap, right? It's this trap, and and then they hold the ghost with the laser. And what's the ghost? What is the ghost? It's just like a regular ghost. No, it's a slime ghost. It's made of slime, just a slimy ghost. And then they just shoot it, and then you put it in the trap, and then they have to put it in the wall. Okay, that's a winner. I'm giving you all the money in the world. No, they would probably slam the door. But in the '80s, they said, "Hey, why not? Sure. Who's in it? Harold Ramis, the big cast from Saturday Night Live and SCTV. Sure, why not? It'll work. Because it was because I think that was like a SCTV meets Saturday Night Live. If you guys remember SCTV, probably don't remember SCTV. Death by Saber says Mulan will be played by albino for the first half of the movie, and a Mexican amputee will play Mulan in the second half of the movie. Mulan's family are moisture farmers. I love moisture farming. It's like my biggest pastime. The Nefarious Chupacabra says backpack lasers. That's racist. Everything is racist. That's sexist is what that is. I believe we will go back to a period of similar to the 80s with tons of new original content, politically incorrect. I hope you're right. I really do. I think we will eventually. I think once this war runs its course, I agree. It probably will. My biggest concern with that is the motives for why they're doing a lot of this. It's financial, and in the 80s there was a lot of money. To be thrown around, and not a lot of things succeeded. A lot of things were failures too, and not just because they tried everything, it didn't work. I mean, Garbage Pail Kids failed. There was a lot of actually, it's funny because Toxic Avenger was one of my. I loved Toxic Avenger. You watch it now, and it's just horrible, but I loved that movie, and it came out with its own cartoon. I think that could be done pretty good now, but that was an interesting one. But it didn't do well in the theater and stuff like that. But you had a lot of failures, but you had a lot of successes. I mean, even when you think Indiana Jones, you think to yourself, we're going to have a serial about this. He's an archaeologist. And at first your thought of an archaeologist is this guy in, just collecting bones and, looking up old antiques and stuff like that. And they said, but this guy is going to have a whip. What? Yep. We're going to have an archaeologist, and he's going to have a whip. Why does an archaeologist need a whip? Because it's cool. That's why. Shut up. How do you pitch that? I mean, and the funny part is, for people who don't know, Steven Spielberg had to fight for that movie because people were just like, and even Spielberg himself and George Lucas attached, still couldn't get that movie made. They were still like, what? What are you talking about? An archaeologist with a hat and a leather jacket walking around with a whip. That's and what is he fighting? Nazis. Well, an archaeologist has a whip and a gun and a hat, and he fights Nazis. Yes. Why is an archaeologist fighting Nazis for? Because they're after the Ark of the Covenant, because it's got magical powers. All right, I'm signing on to this. This is gonna work. It's gonna have and it's gonna be one of the greatest movies of all time. On top, they took chances. They took chances. You try and appeal. You try to ask. Try and pitch that movie today, without the prior knowledge of that success. People would be like, "Are you kidding me?" No, whip is cool. I'm not shitting on the whip. I love the whip. When I was a kid, I used to play whip all the time. It's like, whoosh, da, da. You know how many times I whipped something and was da 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 in my I would actually say da 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 as I was swinging around in my living room breaking things. I was whipping all kinds of stuff. But before that, I would have thought an archaeologist, but just the correlation. Archaeologist, whip, and Nazis. Who wouldn't have thought that's a winner? That's a winner right there. It's just, of course, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer right there. That's a definite winner. If I was an executive, I would be like, I don't even know why I'm having a problem signing this. This is just fait accompli. This is a success. Crocodile Dundee was a great movie. And it's weird because I think that could be a successful movie, but it's also a risky movie. It's one of those. And so Australian guy takes an American to Australia, and he's like pretending to be cool, but is cool at the same time. He pretends to shave. He killed a crocodile, and so he's cool in Australia because he killed a crocodile. Then she comes over and he tries to acclimatize this white guy from Australia to America, like as if he was like a jungle person. I loved the movie, I'll guarantee you, but when you actually think about the concept of it, it's not a black and white situation where you think it's just going to work. It's a risk. It's all risks, and they worked, and a lot of times. And they worked because you had good directors, you had good writers, you had good actors. It wasn't just written. Indiana Jones could have failed, but it had everything working for it. It had great directors, great producers, great actors, and it made it work because these things, you put real creativity and real effort into something, and it works. Guardians of the Galaxy could have failed too, but it worked. A lot of people say Guardians of the Galaxy, that's weird. We don't know this enterprise. But James Gunn, made it work. It's one of those rare things where they actually tried something new, and got it to actually succeed. And then you got even Deadpool. How many times, like, what's his name? The Canadian guy. Come on, help out. The actor Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds was trying for years and years to get this movie done. And no one would support it. And he's like, dude, no one knows about Deadpool. Nobody cares about that character. And he was like, but he strongly believed in it. And he put his own effort and his own money into it, and it worked. We need people with courage like that to put something forth, and show and prove that. And with YouTube now, it's like a no-brainer. Like, how many of these actors have so much money that they don't even know what to do with, make something, or producers or direct, like put something out there like Ryan Reynolds did and put it on. Oops, I accidentally let it slip online. How did that happen? I don't know. Take a chance. Death by Saber says, Shani, I and I are collaborating on a movie script, Toxic Moisture Farmers. Let's make it happen. Let's make that happen. Toxic Moisture Farmers from Mexico. Everything Star Wars. Oh, Shani likes using the whip. Aaron, behave. I like to whip it good, baby. Like my coffee. Yes. But I just think I love whips. I don't know why I was whipping all over the place, but because you never used a whip. Like for me, when I was a kid, whips were just before Indiana Jones, before I even saw it, because I was, even though it came out when I was young, I didn't see it till a little older because it was a more mature movie. My mom wouldn't let me see it. So, I always thought whips were something you did at a zoo, or not a zoo, sorry, at a circus. When you're trying to tame your lions, you had that's what a whip was for me. He used whips in a way I never thought you could use a whip. And when I was a kid growing up, most of my playtime, the character had a whip and a lightsaber. Anybody I would create, when I used to draw a lot of stuff when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of drawings and make characters and stuff. Every character I created, and even when I used to take toys, like I'd take G.I. Joes or take He-Man figures, and I used to like paint on them and make my own characters out of them. All of them had a lightsaber, which is extremely inspiring. I love lightsabers. Death by Saber. I love lightsabers. My remote control was a lightsaber for years. I just imagined the light beam growing out of it. My mom wouldn't let me have violent toys, so I was still violent with my creativity though. And I had the old remote controls, and I'd be like in my living room doing those noises. And with a three things I had as a kid growing up. Three things. My characters had a whip, and a lightsaber, and a hoverboard. That's what they had, and that was all inspired by my favorite movies. My favorite movies inspired all my characters that I created in my playtime. They all had a whip, a lightsaber, and a hoverboard. Now just think about Luke Skywalker or some character now with a whip, a lightsaber, and a hoverboard. I will go to the website Pornhub and search whips and see what comes up. You don't even have to go to Pornhub for that. Just go on to Google and put whips. I'm pretty sure you'll find enough on there. I remember thinking the one with the raccoon, really. Nefarious Chupacabra. Yeah, it's weird because, I thought the same thing, because I'm like, a talking tree. There's a lot of weird stuff in there that could have gone wrong. A talking tree, a talking raccoon. These things are like almost 80s concepts, like things that you look and go, well, it's not going to work. But it worked because it was creative and there was a certain style to when they wrote things in the 80s, and because what makes Ghostbusters work, and this is why the new Ghostbusters doesn't work. You take let's just throw out the female stuff, okay? Let's throw out all that. Doesn't matter. The problem I had, the biggest issue with the Ghostbusters movie, the new one, the 2016 one, was the fact that Ghostbusters was played for laughs. I'm talking about the new one. It was a silly premise played silly. The reason why the original worked was because it was a silly premise played straight. And if the actors are involved and the actors understand the stakes and the stakes are real, then the scenario is believable and it isn't played as a comedy sketch. The new Ghostbusters was played by people who didn't play it. They played it for kicks, and it wasn't the actor's fault. Actually, it was what's his name? It was the director, Paul Feig. I don't even know his name. Feig, that guy. He thought it was a silly premise, and he played it like a gag. And it's those kind of movies in the 80s were silly. All of them were silly, but they were concepts. But they were played straight. And when you play a concept straight like that, like any movie you can make silly if you really analyze these type of movies. Even Star Wars, as much as I love Star Wars, if you want to make fun of Star Wars, you can, because it's silly concepts. There are some silly concepts in it, but because it was played straight and it took itself seriously, the actors took it seriously, so we took it seriously. Everything in fantasy is like that. Fantasy in itself is could be, if you play it silly, it's going to act and feel silly. Star Trek had that problem. The reason why the Next Generation had everything kind of like dry was because they thought it was silly concepts, and they took silly concepts but played them super serious, and then so it kind of counterbalanced it, and then we took it seriously. So and that's why Ghostbusters in these movies, they don't understand. They're making fun of stuff, but they're not understanding why why we liked them in the first place. They're not gags. There was no gags in Star Wars. There was a few gags, but there wasn't like the kind of gags that you see consistently. Like Guardians of the Galaxy makes fun of itself all the time, and that's what it does. It's its own thing, and it worked. But it has, but the characters took themselves seriously, and that's really what matters. As the characters taking themselves seriously. Nefarious Supercub says, "No one I know had a clue who they were. I only do because my mother owned a bookstore, and I was little, and I got comic books to be quiet, and I didn't even read one." They were very. No one really knew Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, everyone who afterwards said, "Yeah, I know," but you didn't know shit. No shit. Nobody knew Guardians of the Galaxy. I never heard of them before. Deadpool, I knew because I used to actually have Deadpool comics. But even the Watchmen, I didn't know anything about the Watchmen. Not to say that they weren't popular. just didn't. And I was a comic book reader, but I wasn't into those that type of comic, and I didn't know much about the Watchmen. There's a lot of concepts that you have to take chances on, and they took a risk with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and for whatever reason, it worked. And you'd think that by doing something like that and seeing how it works, you could kind of make a formula about it. Like, okay, well, why did the Guardians of the Galaxy work? What was the formula? Why did another thing that Disney did that was successful? And it was because of the character. It was because the actor made it successful, and that was Johnny Depp with the Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean could have gone the way of Prince of Persia or The Land of Tomorrow, but it didn't. Why? Why did that work where those failed? It wasn't the CGI. It wasn't the effects. It wasn't. What was it? What's the intangible that made those things? What made it? What made those things successful? For me, I believe the character makes. For me, most important thing for anything is obviously the writing, but the characters portrayal of the characters themselves. The actors' portrayal of the characters. It's extremely important. It's more important than that's why when I hear people complain about it being a black girl, it doesn't matter whether Ariel is a black girl or white. What matters is does she have the chops? Can she actually be Ariel? And when you take an R&B singer and throw her in and say, "Here you go," you're going to create a mediocre movie. It's going to be mediocre. It's not going to be horrible because the effects and stuff are going to be, we already know the story, but it's not going to be great. And it's just going to fly into the mediocrity that all we see today is just mediocrity. GOTG was good because no one had a preconceived idea of what it was to be. Exactly. So when you come up with something new, you could do anything you want. You could be creative, and it doesn't have baggage. I mean, for those hardcore fans, the 5 of them that loved, Guardians of the Galaxy comics, and they're all upset because I don't know, that's just not my Star-Lord. They're going to be upset. But the people who most people didn't know what they were, didn't know. So you can get away with doing pretty much take liberties with certain things. And it doesn't have the baggage. See, when you start remaking things, you already have the baggage that comes along with it. It's just the nature of it. It's unfortunate because that's the big problem too, because we have all this arguing and this infighting because you have a movie that people already have so much expectation for. And the worst thing you can have in anything, especially when it comes to creative arts, is expectation. The worst thing you can have is someone going in with expectation, because you're 90% of the time when you have high expectations, you're going to be let down. And that's usually what happens when you go in for something, when you wait for something for so long and you build it up in your head and you have all these wonderful things. It never meets that expectation right off the bat. It's really hard to. Sometimes it does, but not all. But most of the times it really doesn't. And so when you play it, so on its own, it's hard to get people to, everybody to like it. But on top of that, you're doing all this shenanigans and trying to diversity stuff and all this, just like, and if you want diversity, make new movies. Make a new movie with new characters, and you can do whatever the hell you want at that point, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter at that point because it's new, so there's no baggage associated with it. The Nefarious Chupacabra, again, if there are any Guardians fans, I've never met one before the movie. Yeah, I've never met one. I don't know anybody who's owned a Guardians of the Galaxy comic book. Not even my brother. And my brother owns all of these like obscure comics, in those days. So he never had any of those. So yeah, and that's my thing. That's what I keep saying. It's like, and I think a lot of it falls on us, the viewer, because a lot of times we don't watch a lot of these things too, and because of that, it's like they're scared because they're also living in a world. So I'm going to be fair. I'm going to try to play a little devil's advocate here, because you have a lot of downloading, illegal downloading. You have a lot of streaming. You have a lot of, like I said, when I went to go watch the Endgame in the theater, I just listened to the kids' conversations that were in the theater watching, and they're like, "This is like totally going to be the first movie from Marvel I'm actually seeing in the theater today. All of the others are just on my computer." And like, yeah, me too. I just like, because it was the hype of it that got them in the seats. But before that, all the other movies, they just sat in their cell phones watching movies. So it's very hard to get people out of their out of their butts and into the seats. So that in its own is a hard thing for them to do. Plus, movies are expensive like crazy, which I've said before. To go watch a movie, you got a mortgage with your kids. you got to take out a mortgage, a second mortgage on the house. It's like, all right, I'm going to take my 4 kids to go see a movie, popcorn, parking, Coke, and all that stuff. Let's see, your bill will be $450, sir. You're damn well right he's going to come out pissed. If the movie sucks, you're going to come out really angry. What the hell are you thinking? It's a $400 ticket, so for him and his family to sit there enjoying a movie now, in 3D with all the amenities and all that stuff. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but not by much, I don't think. So, yeah, you're damn well right. These things better be good, or people are making huge investments here, to watch these things. So it's like, but will we go if there's like I've said before, that movie that I really liked, that like Alita. It didn't do as well as I thought it should have done. That movie should have done really a lot better. And people just didn't give it a chance. A lot of people who I was even saying, who went to go see Captain Marvel, for heaven's sakes. And I was like, did you go see? Oh yeah, Captain Marvel. It was all right, whatever. And I was like, did you watch Alita? What's Alita? I mean, what's Alita? I mean, you went to see Captain Marvel because you wanted to see a female lead. Now you didn't even see Alita. What's wrong with you? After seeing T2, I was so pumped to see the Silver Surfer in a movie, and they totally screw the pooch. Well, I guarantee you're probably going to see Silver Surfer in the next Guardians of the Galaxy film. I believe that's going to happen. Maybe not the next one, but in one of them coming up, I really think that's going to happen. Here in Switzerland, just the movie ticket for one person costs $24. Have you watched Dark, by the way? Anybody watch the Netflix show Dark? Speaking of great new ideas and awesome things that should be spoken about more often. There's a show on Netflix called Dark. I think it's from Switzerland. I believe it's from Switzerland. It is a brilliant show, man. It's in its second season, and it's freaking amazing. To me, I think it's better than Stranger Things, although it's similar concept. Stranger Things also deals more with time, as opposed to the Upside Down. It's from Germany. I wasn't sure if it was Germany or Switzerland because I hear them like talk French too, right? I think I've heard French. So I thought it was thing, but it's Germany. But it's a brilliant movie, man. The actors are great. The writing is top notch, and the effects, everything is fantastic. So I really recommend you guys, if you have Netflix, go watch Dark. It's like Stranger Thing meets Back to the Future meets, I can't even say. There's just so much to it, and I don't want to spoil anything because it's such a complicated story, but I love it. It deals with time travel and in a town that's just things are going on. It's really, really good. It's a show on Netflix. Go check it out. It's a show on Netflix, guys. It's really solid, and it's in its second. It's done its second season. I'm only in one season and a half. I haven't finished it. Um, yeah, you guys have to really watch that. It's fantastic. Um, and I'm like, right now I'm watching that and Stranger Things, and I'm like, I love Stranger Things. It's got the '80s thing, and the thing is, Dark also has the '80s thing too, right? Because they go back in time. And there's a lot of parallels, and they deal with time differently too, because I think time isn't linear. I think it's simultaneous in this. So check that out. Yeah, time travel, but it works where past, present, and the future are simultaneous, and there is sort of like in and of itself, it's a paradox. So the whole thing is a giant paradox, and they're trying to fix the paradox, but it's crazy. But there's a serial killers and all this stuff involved in this, but it's really good, dude. It's dark. It's dark. It's called Dark, but it also, and then there's like when they go back to the '80s, they do '80s really well. I'm glad when they go back to the '80s and the '50s and stuff. So it's really awesome. Check it out. My wife and I watching both shows, one and the other. Yeah. I go back and forth one and then the other day. The toothless kid creeps me out. Which toothless kid in Dark? Which one? Because there's so many kids. But anyway, I'm that's my recommendation, guys. Go see Dark. If you are, it's a much darker version of, I would say, of of Stranger Things. But it's actually, I think it's better written than Stranger Things. And I love Stranger Things. I'm not even shitting on Stranger Things. I think it's great. Stranger Things always hits me in that funny bone, the little tickly spot in the cockles of my heart, beneath the cockles. Oh yeah, this guy right here, this kid trips you out. He's a Canadian. Yeah, toothless. I've only watched the first episode of the third of this season, and it was good. It was all right. I liked what they do with the '80s. I really, they have this knack of giving you the feelies really well. I've a lot of times, a lot of people who go back to the shows that try to do the '80s, they don't hit it out of the park. I didn't think Transformers did the '80s well for me. I thought they, I'm not sure what it was. Just because you throw music every 5 seconds it still doesn't have to have the feeling of an '80s. This still has, you can throw the clothes and the hair and the music. That doesn't necessarily always feel the '80s. They always make you feel the '80s. And because they know how to do it. What's the director? I forgot his name. I can't remember his name, but he's really good. And I think he deserves a chance if they were I thought if they fired James Gunn, I actually thought they should have brought this guy to do Guardians of the Galaxy, because I just liked what he did with the '80s here, and I think he understands the '80s. And if he understands the '80s, I definitely think he'd understand how to make Guardians of the Galaxy work. And probably make it a little darker than what James Gunn did. I can't remember his name, the director of Stranger Things. If you guys can remember name, then please let me know in the comments. But yeah, see, that's the whole thing. I think that Walt Disney, I don't know. I think they're gonna crash. I'm predicting it now. They're crashing and burning soon. And you're seeing the evidence. There's Disney fatigue, and I think people. The fact that they're buying up everything is putting people off. I think that in itself, it's like they're monopolizing the world. That is already starting to piss people off. They look like a company. They're not before everyone kind of knew they were a company that wanted to make money, but I think they had a good balance of trying to make money, but at the same time trying to give good value for the money. Now I don't see that. They're not trying to give any value. They're just trying to make money and siphon people's wallets. And play on people's feelings and emotions, whether it be negative feelings or positive feelings, by creating controversy and animosity. They're just siphoning your pocket, more and more. And before it looked like they were at least trying to give you value for it and give you something decent. Now they're not even trying. It's just like, give me money. I love all your money. Put it in your pocket and give it to me. You don't have to swear when you read my comments, Shani. I type like a sailor. That's a relief. I didn't want to misrepresent your comment. That's really what it is, the crux of the argument here. Kathleen Kennedy, sexy. Which Satans agree they will implode like a house of cards? Well, yeah, I mean, anything that's that big is eventually going to drop. It's like they're eventually going to crash. And it's unfortunate because they're going to take a lot of stuff with them. Marvel, I think, is dead. I'm sorry to say, Marvel is dead. I said this even before Endgame came out, that it doesn't matter. The fatigue had already set in. The only reason that Endgame did as well as it did was because it was the conclusion of what we've already been waiting for. We've been waiting for this for the longest time, and so we all wanted to see how it would end. That's why it did successful. Now that it's over, you've taken Captain America away. You've taken Iron Man away. You're creating this force for feminine stuff, force for feminine. This female empowerment thing on superheroes, which I don't have a big issue with, but if you're just trying to do it for the sake of female empowerment, then you're going to fail. Because instead of doing it to try to make a good movie, which you're not, because you've seen it in the comics, and the comics are failing. Because instead of appealing to what people like about comics, you're trying to appeal to a group of people that don't care about that. They just care about the agenda. And if you're going to appeal to just the agenda and not the people who are fans of the project, then or of the product, then you're going to fail. And so it's going to fail. Marvel's failing. I think Disney, these movies are going to run their course, and they're just going to get worse and worse and worse. The PR machine is going to have to work extremely hard to get these movies out to work. I mean, like, I just go back to it. I just don't see how they're going to make this feasible. I don't see how a Little Mermaid movie in real life, without making it dark and without making it some kind of like horror, is going to work. A singing crab is horrific to me. A crab is a disgusting creature that looks like a spider that walks backwards. I don't want to see it sing. I'm sorry, I just don't. Unless it's a cartoon and it's got little weird eyes and it goes under the sea. That's fine with the big lips. It was awesome. But crab in real life is horrific. It's terrifying. It's a thing of nightmares. It's not one thing you want to see singing about your love life. Little crab singing about your love life. You stay girl, come on. What the hell is that? It's just crazy. Rocket will be played by a bird. Yeah. There's not enough bird representation. We need more birds in our movies. There's a big problem with birds in our movies, and they're not getting enough enough representation. Moisture farming bird. Moisture farming crab. How about that one? Anyway, guys, yeah, so like it's been a while, guys. Thank you for watching my live streams. Or like I said, I was kind of on a vacation for this week. So that's why I've been away. Once again, I'm going to say thank you guys for my subs, my 1,000 subs. Still haven't gotten monetized yet, but that's a work in progress. And like I said, I want to thank those 3 individuals, those people who believed in me, who believed in my channel and helped promote me and push me, whether it be on Twitter or on their channels, and helped me get to the level that I'm at. Death by Saber, you're one of them. Fanatics Film is another one. Toriel G, you're another one that always supports. And you all support me in your own way. I really do. Thank you all, guys. Thank you all for this. And again, my condolences to the family of Anna, that Star Wars girl. It's a hard thing to lose someone in your family like that, especially the way she went. I don't know how she went, but I meant just disappearing and then that whole thing of trying to find her. So my condolences to her and her family. And yeah, you went on vacation too? Yeah, I've seen your photos. your Vegas vacation. And you guys had an earthquake there, guys. So everybody's okay. Everyone had, like, it's kind of weird, eh? 4th of July, you guys had an earthquake. It was just really, really weird. But anyway, guys, go check out their channels. Check out everybody. I always say this because, like, everybody's got channels. And so everybody check out each other and support each other. We build as a community, because as YouTubers, as YouTubers, it's hard in the beginning. It's always hard because the way the algorithms work, they don't help out new channels. And so the beginning is always extremely hard. You got to scratch and claw for everything you have. And then once you reach a level that you don't need to scratch and claw, and you just have a lot of views naturally, and then it just becomes, it grows exponentially. It just becomes this explosion in your channel. That I haven't reached that point yet, and I know, but my research shows that. So yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. And I'm gonna head out and do my chores and things. Also, guys, so just so you know, there is gonna be some changes to my channel. But good, positive changes. I'm going to do these once a week for sure, because I love doing these. But I'm posting a lot of videos. I've got a lot of videos in my head that I'm really enthusiastic about. There are going to be some different videos that you haven't seen. Taking some stuff out and adding some stuff in. But it's all going to be fun and awesome. And I really, you'll see more Billy. Billy's going to have his own segment, guys. For those who want to know why I haven't used Billy, I'm trying to find a good place for Billy. Billy's going to be doing some movie reactions and reviews, but different types. He's going to be reviewing. He's going to do Billy rants. No, sorry, Billy is going to what do you call it? Take the piss out of movies, so to speak. So that's what he's going to be doing. Classic movies. So if you want to see, he's going to be doing that. And I've got some stuff called toy theater coming out more, which is yeah. Well, I should show my toys a little more. I don't know. I tried it once. It didn't go over too well. I'll try it again. But I'm actually got something called Toy Theater coming out, which is Skeletor is going to be doing movie reviews as well. He's going to be reviewing some movies. Skeletor. Hey man, so he'll be doing some movie reviews coming up. I already filmed those, so that's coming up. So anyway, and of course impressions and things like that. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah, so you know what, I'll maybe I'll film a video today later, and I'll show you the toys. Actually, I'm gonna go to a toy show on Sunday. This Sunday I'm going to a toy show. So I'm trying to get more Star Wars toys. Yeah, Billy's gonna get real. he's gonna take the piss out of movies, but good movies, not shit movies, like stuff that we love, like, because it's almost like a roast, and he's gonna do that. Skeletor, he's gonna be taking a piss out of shit movies, and that's gonna be a different thing. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to head out, and I'm going to stop rambling because I feel like I go on and on. So thank you guys for watching. I love you all. And check out Dark. Dark is awesome. Subscribe to everybody's channel. Don't forget to like my channel and subscribe to mine if you haven't already, which I'm pretty sure you have. But if you haven't, please do. And, what do you guys think of my new logo? Do you like it? Thumbs up if you do. Let me know in the comments if you like the new logo, because it's going to go along with my merch. Yeah, right. Oh man, that sounds so pretentious when I hear people say it, but I know one day it's probably going to be me too. Or, check out my merch, bro. You got some merch. I hate the word merch, but I ain't got no merch. I'm just playing with you. All right, guys. So talk to you guys later. Doo-doo.